small situation. As you can see here, we've got the 67 Farmall 140 sitting here in front of you. What I'm gonna be doing today, and I'm not doing a how-to video. I don't really like to do how-to videos. To me, there's enough videos out there to watch on how to do something, and you know, there's hundreds of videos on the same thing, and it's like I'm not gonna do that. More or less what my videos are, or of me doing it, watching me screw up something, but what I'm gonna attempt to do today, well, I am going to do it, is I'm going to put the fertilizer distributor drive and all on, and we're going to take the fast hitch socket off, I guess whatever you call it, and we're going to pin the bell up. And the reason we pin the bell up is, and what I mean by pinning the bell up, this is your bell. Here's what they, I guess, refer to it as. Of course, there's probably 10 different names, but you can see this piece right here, and I've already taken the pin out. There's a little peg up underneath here, underneath the floor plate, and if you don't know if you have a peg or not, it's these two big fat-headed slot screws or pins here, screws or whatever. They are bolted to a little peg up under there, and what you do is you pull this pin out, drop this, take this piece, rotate it back, and put it up on the socket there, and that pins the bell up. Now but before you have to take the fast hitch receiver, I guess you'd call it, off, because you cannot have that on there, and you cannot have that on there when you're cultivating crops. You can, but eventually when your corn or whatever, if your cultivating gets up high enough, that there will start hitting, and you lose your clearance. Your clearance is, you're limited by the clearance right there at the front axle. And when it starts hitting the front axle, you know, you can hit it a little bit, but when it gets up so tall, you won't be able to hit it without breaking the crop, or the base of the crop, or whatever. Like I say, if it pushes it down enough, it could break it, and then it'll die. So but yeah, we're going to do that, and we're going to get all that done for you today, and hopefully I'll have to give you short little clips of it here and there, so it's not like a 4-hour long video, because it does take some time to do it. All right, what I'm going to do here is go ahead and pull the pins out here. Like I say, you take your, and watch my foot, because we don't want that to happen again. Take your piece off here, go ahead and drop those, put those off to the side. You'll do each one of those like that. Like I say, just stick them up there and stick them out of the way. All right, now you're left with your fast hitch receiver, I guess you'd call it. Try to keep all your pins so you don't lose them. Don't make fun of my pin here. Apparently somebody broke the one off, and like I said, I haven't found one yet to stick in there. So what it is, I just took a bolt and put a piece of end of a peg or a stake or something like that and just welded it. It works, but you can catch your hand on it. Like I said before, this is how I do it. This is how I've done it. I don't care how your granddaddy did it, your daddy did it, your uncle, brother, cousin, mother, or whatever. It's just how I get it done sometimes. Once you get your fast hitch receiver and the rigging, the setup here, what we're going to do next, we're going to see if we can get that pin out. since we got all the pressure off. I'll go ahead and get that pin out first, I guess. Drop it back in there so you don't lose it. Now you can see the crock clearance there. Well, got to move the bell up first, but we'll do that next. Push up on that. And my pin fell out. Push it up here and alright, it's a little bit tough to get in there, but once you get that pin in there, yeah, put your key back in, that way you don't lose it. And like I say, this is factory setup here, so this here, it pins it up so you it's out of the way. Like I say, you can see where now the bell is out of the way. Crock clearance, I got to move that one over a little bit, I had it too far. Next step I usually do is, like I say, pull this pin out. Do not lose these. These are hard to find and expensive if you have to find them. Get that back in there. This bar here, your front lift bar, as you can see, it's curved. This one is fairly straight, no bend in it. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember reading or hearing people talk, there's either two of these or three of these. There's one that had a slight bend in it, and then there's one that had was either straight and had a slight, and then the other one had a slight bend, or this one had more of an aggressive bend. But if I'm not mistaken, and some of y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was either Cole or King. They either made a replacement. It may have been International, but that made a more of a severe bend to clear the fertilizer drive. The fertilizer drive that comes out here, because they'll hit, and I'll show you in a minute what it would hit along here, and you'll see people, they'll take their original and they'll bend it. And of course, when you put something in a bend like that, it does shorten a little bit, and I really don't want to bend my original bar here. So what I'm gonna do is for Farm Boy 59, I'm gonna make him one, and I'm gonna make me one because this will give me some motivation to do it. I'm gonna make my own with more of an aggressive bend to miss the fertilizer drive there. So, but all right, well, next we'll get putting the fertilizer drive on, and put this where you know where it's at. Never took this off here. This is the base for the fertilizer drive. I'm not going to put that on because it'll just be in the way of trying to get in here, and it'll make me more aggravated than I already will be with putting this thing on, because it's just a pain. You got to get down on the floor, and it's just a pain, and I never hate having to take it off. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my fertilizer drive and all that, and I'm gonna put it up under here, get up under it, and see if I can get it put on. All right, you just leave your bolts out just a little bit, and like I said, I never took them off in the mirror. All right, then what I will do now is I'll tighten this up. Now this right here, I guess some of you don't know, this is where your planter unit would ride, and I do have a planter unit for it, but not 100% sure if I get everything to hook it up or not, but that's for another time. So what I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down so it doesn't fall on my face. And I got my what you want is a standard crescent wrench, monkey wrench, whatever you want to call it. Now I use the right wrench, unlike me. It's just because I'm too lazy to walk across the shop and get it. I usually keep this wrench on here in case something gets loose on the cultivators or something. After you get that secured, pull back. This is your clutch drive, I guess, for your fertilizer, whatever you want to call it. Carter pin set back in there. All right, before I forget it, I'm gonna put these up so I can hit my shins on them. It does help if you have somebody else helping you, but I don't have no help today. All right, get that lock back in there like that. Now everything's good on that. That's actually where to ride when the fast hitch is not installed. All right, since we got all that bolted on, got our trip for the clutch there on the Fertilizer Drive. Like I say, if I don't get none of this terminology right, don't hurt me. This is your brace here. Like I say, your chain will run along the top here, hit this gear here, and then go to the clutch drive, or the clutch right up here. So this is a little tricky to get in, and I think I put it on. All right, got that there. Get the chain run here. You can leave it on, but to me, if you leave it on all the time, it's just unnecessary wear. Of course, you can hear it clank, 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 clank the whole time, so you want to have a little bit of slack in it, but not too much. Like I say, have a little bit, but you don't want to be too tight to be wearing your chain out. Like I say, you want your chain running under this tensioner sprocket here, over the top, around, back up. Like I say, just you probably want just a little, you know, you push it about a ½ inch or so, inch or whatever, but depending on how old your chain, how wore out your chain is too. I give it a little bit of slack. This here is always fun to get tightened down, and like I said, once I get this and tightened down, then I'll adjust my tensioner here to tighten up my chain even more. So chain's on, bells put up, everything's secure on the oh, I can't think of what it is. It's a brace here, but it mounts on the inside of your final drive. Make sure that's put on there, and make sure that your tensioner is got your chain fairly tight with a little bit of slack in it like before. Rear sweeps are on up, and now go ahead and put on my Fertilizer Drive on. Then we're gonna put the pot bucket, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes that chain can be a little bit of a pain. A lot of people don't know this here little tensioner should have a pretty good strong spring on it. All right, got the fertilizer chain on. It's a little loose, little play. Like I say, you don't want it too tight. You don't want to wear out your sprockets and all that. So plus wear on your chain. Like I say, we got our clutch rod engaged or installed. So that's all there. Everything else is in. Put the fertilizer hopper on. All right, the best ag commissioner in North Carolina, other than Jim Graham, and Leonidas Lafayette Polk. Steve Troxar, next North Carolina. Well, he's currently the ag commissioner, but we're rooting for him anyway. I got wire tied my hose in there because I don't want it coming out. Catch it in those little claws right there, and the gear will lay down in the mesh with itself there. All right, get that tied down. Then you take your You can take your fertilizer hose and put it anywhere. I've got a fertilizer knife I'm going to use, and I'm going to install on here a little bit later. So we'll just let that hang right here. Everything's set up and pretty much ready to go, other than, and a lot of times you can just tie that hose on the back of the cultivator, and like I say, it all mix over time. So, and apologize for the shaky camera work, but when you're doing it by yourself, and it's like, I mean, you see my hands are pure just full of grease, and I'm gonna have to clean my camera mount here and little clamp that I'm using to put it different places. Other than that, everything's on. Like I say, it's ready to go. Ready to lay down some nitrogen on the corn here. Should have already done it when I had the planter, but we didn't have all this set up. But like I say, I put my fertilizer knife on there. I'll be able to inject it right there into the root system. So, but anyway, thanks for watching.